Fishing's all luck. That's what some people say. What I believe is luck is when your preparation meets the opportunities the fish presents you. Hey guys, my name's Will. I'm an avid angler. I'm an aspiring tournament red fisherman. And what I want to do is I want to walk you through 5 tips that I use that I believe help me catch more fish. I'm about to go fish a tournament in Hampstead, North Carolina. I've never been there before. And what I want to do is I want to walk you through the process that I take when approaching new water. There's 5 things. The first one is this: check Google Earth. Let me show you what I mean. All right, guys, let's jump into Google Earth. We've got Hampstead right here. Sloop Point is actually where we're going to be launching our boat. And so what I want to do is I'm going to start looking over this area for places that stand out to me as ambush opportunities for fish. And so what I mean by that is structure and places for the fish to hide. And so as I'm going up, things that really stand out to me are areas like this right here. We've got a creek that opens up into a creek mouth with some islands. So here we can see this darker water right here is the deeper water, that's the intercoastal. And then here we've got points. You can see the sand here, and then you can see kind of this darker, shallow flat. You even have some grass over here. Following into this inlet, you've got these bends, these deeper bends, these points, all these areas that I'm going to think about targeting. And so when I want to take a spot like this, I'm going to go up to my pin tool. I'm going to hit pin. I'm going to move the pin where I want, and then I'm going to save it. Maybe I'm going to save it islands, and then I press OK, and then that spot is saved. And so I back out, and I keep moving. One thing I like to look for is what I call inlets and outlets. What I mean by that is this: when the tide is coming out, and you look at an area like this, this is going to be an outlet. The water is pouring out. In an ambush spot would be like this point right on the inside. The fish can come in and ambush the bait that's coming out. And inlet would be like this. This is an area here where the tide is going to come into this area and create ambush spots like here and like here. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking for things that stand out. Bays like this one here, the insides of these points, the mouths of these canals, even going as far as going down here closer to Jacksonville into Morgan Bay. I'm going to look at areas that really stick out to me, like points. This is a point. This is a point. Another outlet. Another point. These are areas where fish are going to stack up because they're going to ambush bait. A spot like this, you can see we've got these dark spots of, I'm presuming, grass. We have sand. We have what I can see as some pretty good depth off this point. We're just looking for areas, right, that stand out as ambush opportunities for these fish. Once you guys have checked Google Earth and you feel like you have a lay of the land, the second thing you've got to do is you've got to check the weather patterns. All right, let's check out this weather that we're looking at right here. And so here we can see from Wednesday to Thursday to Friday, we have highs in the 80s, and then it drops down into the 70s here on Saturday. So August 7th, that is going to be our fishing day. And when you look at that day, you can see that you're going to have a big weather shift here. We're going to go from sunny on Thursday and high of 91 all the way down to overcast, possibly some rain, a wind direction shift, and a high of 73. And so this is something to really take note of. A big pressure system's coming in, and this can have a lot of effects on fish. A lot of times when the pressure has already dropped and changed, like on Saturday, the fishing can be pretty difficult. So it's important to prepare yourself for the weather and for the bite. I know when it's cloudy and looks like it's going to be pretty windy out of the northeast, we're going to not really be sight fishing. I'm really going to be relying on baits that attract the fish to me, like a popping cork, like a gold spoon, something that I can cover water with. So it's really important to look at your weather patterns and see what is coming up for your planned day of fishing. Well, once you've got to lay of the land, you've checked the weather patterns, the third thing that you've got to do is you've got to look at the tide charts and see what kind of tides you're dealing with. All right, so let's check out our tides. You can see here that we have a high tide at 3 a.m. and 3:45 p.m. on Saturday. And then you're looking at that 9:20 and 10 low tide. So really what this lets me know is when I want to target my inlets, when I want to target my outlets, and then when you see your feet beside your tide, that helps you understand the intensity of the tide. So a 2.9 high tide is going to be a little bit smaller than a 3 high tide you see on Friday. So it lets you know how much water you're going to be dealing with and when the tides are super important to look at.
Well, you've been on Google Earth, you've checked the weather, you've checked the tides. Now it's time for step 4, and that is check for the wind.
All right, well, let's look at our wind forecast. We've got east-northeast, 10 miles an hour. It's going to be pretty windy. So you see these areas up here. These are going to be areas that are going to be more protected from the wind because they are on the top side or the side where the wind is going to be coming from. These sort of areas are going to be more protected. The wind doesn't get a chance to pick up over the bays. And so when I look back at the areas I liked on Google Earth, I'm going to now take into consideration what areas are going to be too windy to fish, what areas are wind going to play a factor in the lures that I choose, and could wind play into my advantage on how I drift through a spot. Perhaps the wind could be pushing more water up against the bank and I have a little more options there. Even pushing bait sometimes can be things to consider, but on a day that's windy like this, it's going to affect the kind of baits that you choose. It's going to affect the areas that you can fish, and it's going to limit you in some ways, but you need to know so that way you can prepare. One thing that's not an official tip, but I wanted to add in here was the solunar highs, the different solunar moon phases. So this is kind of a controversial topic, but what it is it is how the moon position during the day affects the bite. And so you see you've got major activity times and a minor activity time. I will say that although it's not completely proven, these things are important to look at. In my advice and my experience, I have had some more luck over these minor activity times, these major activity times. The moon plays a big role in tides already, and so knowing these periods and how this might affect the pool on the water and how this might affect different bite times for the fish, it's important. So if you're going to be out there during these times, make sure you consider it when you're fishing.
My 5th and final piece of advice for you guys today is this: cover with confidence. What do I mean by that? Going off the 80-20 rule is this: 80% of the fish that you're fishing for are going to be living in 20% of the water that you have to fish. So you've got to cover a lot of water to figure out where these fish are holding. Once you find these fish, you can really kind of replicate the kind of areas that they're staging up in. So what you've got to do is you've got to cover water, but you've got to cover it with confidence. Use lures that you love. Use lures that you are confident in on any given day. Here's a few of mine. All right, let's talk about a couple confidence baits when I'm trying to cover water. The first one is always going to be this. It's a popping cork. This is a 4 Horsemen's popping cork. I absolutely love the popping cork when I'm covering water. It really gives off that great popping sound. It brings fish to you. It's easy to work. You can kind of cover, throw, pop, pop, pop. I like to rig it with something like this. This is a Gold Rush Z-Man 3-inch paddle tail. Also really love the gulp shrimp if the other kind of pinfish and stuff aren't biting it in half. So we got popping cork. Second one is this. It's a gold spoon. I think this is a 1/4 ounce gold spoon. Slow retrieve with pauses to let it sink, let that thing flutter. These are 2 great options that I'm confident with when I'm trying to cover water. Well, once I identified an area that I liked, I targeted it on a protected side because I knew the wind forecast. I knew when to go there because of the tides, and I knew that there could be fish there because I've been covering water. And here is when all of those things come together to a moment that you find the fish you're looking for. This is the kind of area they would like to cruise. Nice fish. There we go, Dad. This is the one we want. Yeah. This is the quality fish we needed. Out here on this point, like I thought he'd be. Yeah, this is a high slot, over slot fish. Yeah. No, he's perfect. If not, he's just slightly over. But right what we're looking for. Yeah. $26.25. Those are the ones we need right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that that was helpful. Please comment any questions that you have. If you liked the video, let me know another tip that I need to add to this list. We have more videos coming soon. Please subscribe, share with your friends.